wave god in this motherfucker. Hey, shout my nigga Demi Tito.
Got song pop like I'm Iggy. All they talking about is last night like I'm Demi. Say you got
It's the Godfather of Irish Drill Show and my boy Demi TV.
Damn ski pole for Michael Jackson.
Let's see what the chat thinks. Let's see. Cause that nigga Demi was like, I'm king.
So Dean found in Teen Nation today we're doing a reaction to a casual history and it's called historical facts that mess with your sense of time. So we're gonna see what they're talking about and get into it. If you're new to the channel, like, comment, and subscribe, and share the video on all social media and comment below what reaction you want me to do next. Dean Family, you feel me? And subscribe to the channel and check out the Dean TV clothing merch in the description box below. And no further ado, let's get into this reaction.
When we try to put historical events into perspective, we often simplistically divide things into old days and modern times because our brains can often struggle with the perception of time. I compiled a series of interesting facts on historical events that surprisingly took place at more or less the same time, turning them into real and pretty fascinating coincidences.
Wow.
And will make you think twice about how you perceive the past. Number 1. The same tortoise belonged to both Charles Darwin and Steve Irwin. Harriet the tortoise was reportedly collected by Charles Darwin during his 1835 visit to the Galapagos Islands as part of his round-the-world survey expedition. Then she was transported to England and finally brought to her final home, Australia, by a retiring captain of the Beagle, the ship Darwin used for his expedition. And as we all know, tortoises can live quite a long time.
Yeah.
And by a hilarious turn of events, Harriet turned up in Steve Irwin's zoo. That's right, the pet tortoise of Charles Darwin was adopted by the legendary crocodile hunter. However, some doubt was cast on this story by the fact that Darwin had never visited the island that Harriet originally came from. Anyhow, she had an estimated age of 175 by the time she finally died at Steve Irwin's zoo. Her life was an
when actually it was telling the truth and just got passed to him.
Absolute win since Harriet got to meet 2 historical legends. Number 2. Today's oldest living tree was already 1,000 years old when the last woolly mammoth died. The world's oldest tree is a Great Basin bristlecone pine located in White Mountains, California, and is dated at around 5,000 years old. To put that into perspective, isolated populations of
that's old as shit, man. 5,000, bruh, ain't no fucking
mammoths
way,
on Wrangell Island didn't finally go extinct until 4,000 years ago, with the small island in the Arctic Ocean serving as a sanctuary for the great beasts after they were forced from the mainland by humans and climate change. So you don't have to go back to the Ice Age to meet some mammoth friends. Number 3. Woolly mammoths and the Egyptians. I think this fact is more popular nowadays, but I still want to include it since it's a true classic. As I established earlier, woolly mammoths went extinct about 4,000 years ago when human societies were already around. The oldest of the great pyramids in Egypt, the Pyramid of Djoser, was constructed about 1,000 years before they went extinct, meaning that while man was busy building some of the most incredible structures ever made, woolly mammoths were still chilling on some islands. Number 4, Mahatma Gandhi and Jack the Ripper. Gandhi is so bound up with the titanic events of the 20th century that it might be peculiar to imagine him as a dapper gentleman of Victorian society. But that's exactly what he became while studying law in London. Arriving in September 1888, right in the midst of the Jack the Ripper killings. Gandhi obviously had nothing to do with the Jack the Ripper killings, but it's funny to think about the fact that Gandhi could have become a suspect in the most famous murder case. Number 5, Nintendo and Jack the Ripper. Even though Jack the Ripper and Nintendo were around about the same time, he never got the chance to play classics like Zelda and Mario. They originally made playing cards called Hanafuda when the company was founded way back in 1889. At the same time, the infamous Jack the Ripper was created.
That's probably why Jack the Ripper went killing spree because of that fucking game. Like, he probably like, what is this shit? I don't want this shit.
Creating havoc on the streets of London. His murder spree happened only about a year before Nintendo came into existence. Number 6, Star Wars came out the same year as the last guillotine execution in France. When thinking about guillotine executions, our minds wander to historic figures like Napoleon, but you didn't have to be that old to get your head chopped off. Star Wars premiered in the United States on May 20th, 1977. At the same time this futuristic sci-fi was wowing audiences around the world, Hamida, the pimp killer, Jandubi, was beheaded for the torture and murder of a young woman. This was the last use of the guillotine in France. Nobody else has been executed using any means since. Considering the timeline, even your own grandpa could have attended this last execution.
Wow.
And maybe he talked with some strangers about the new cool Star Wars movie while watching the execution.
Wow.
Number 7. Prisoners arrived at Auschwitz just days after McDonald's
They won't even call him a nerd.
was founded. While McDonald's is traditionally associated with the good times and affluence of 1950s America, the very first restaurant was opened much earlier on May 15th, 1940. At the same time, one of the most gruesome events in human history began in Europe. Just 5 days after McDonald's grand opening, the first prisoners arrived at the Auschwitz concentration camp in what is now Poland. Number 8. Oxford University existed for hundreds of years before the Aztec Empire was founded. The Aztec Empire began as an alliance of 3 city-states. These 3 city-states ruled the area in and around the Valley of Mexico from 1428. This came to an end when the combined forces of the Spanish conquistadors and their native allies under Hernan Cortez defeated them in 1521. Aztec culture had rich and complex mythological and religious traditions, as well as achieving remarkable architectural and artistic accomplishments. Meanwhile, in England, Oxford University.
Yeah, that's why they call it Cajun for Caucasian, cause they did some Cajun ass shit and gave us that red hot and ran our people up out this bitch, and just got like red. The blood was like red. They let the blood shed red, just like hot sauce is red shit.
Was already well established. It has no known data foundation, but there is evidence of teaching as far back as 1096, making it the oldest university in the English-speaking world and the world's second oldest university in continuous operation. It grew rapidly from 1167, when Henry II banned English students from attending the University of Paris. So part of why Oxford is so famous today is because Henry pulled a clever marketing move. Number 9. Ecstasy was invented the same year the Titanic sank. The unsinkable Titanic sank in 1912, going down in the North Atlantic Ocean 4 days into the ship's maiden voyage from Southampton to New York City. In the same year, pharmaceutical giant Merck was interested in developing substances that stopped abnormal bleeding. One of their chemists, Anton Kolisch, synthesized MDMA to avoid
and all
a
that
patent
bullshit
by German
come
rival
from the
Bayer.
government and
It wasn't
bullshit.
until 1975
And
that
basically,
psychoactive
it
effects
get
of the
into
drug
the
began
fucking neighborhoods and communities and fuck it up. That's crazy.
to be taken seriously,
This shit
and
is a
recreational
cycle.
use spread thereafter through
Holy
personal networks of
skadoodles.
psychotherapists, psychiatrists, users of psychedelics, and yuppies. So yes, everyone who died on the Titanic never got the chance to taste this drug. By the way, ecstasy raised one's body temperature, so if it had been invented earlier, it might explain why the captain was so desperate to ram an iceberg. Number 10. Microsoft was founded while Spain was still a fascist dictatorship. A highly controversial figure within Spain, Franco is seen as
Bro, how old is this nigga Bill Gates? What the hell?
the divisive leader.
How the
Supporters
fuck
credit his strong anti-communist and nationalist views, economic policies,
Niggas was
preservation of
making
traditional
Microsoft and
Spanish
these
practices,
niggas under
and
all
support of the
types of
monarchy of
bull
Spain
crap.
as positive
This nigga
influences over the
doing- I
nation.
don't know.
Critics disparage him as an autocratic dictator who violently suppressed opposition and dissent, banned culture seen as non-Spanish, and provided much support to
Trash.
the Axis powers during World War II. Franco ruled Spain as a fascist state up until his death in 1975. This was the same year that Microsoft was founded by Paul Allen and Bill Gates, and the beginning of a new era in computer technology. Number 11. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows was published the same year the first iPhone was released.
Yeah.
The 7th and last book
Yeah,
in the
it
Harry
was.
Potter
I can
series was
remember
released
that.
in 2007. ending the series that began in 1997 with the
I have
publication
an
of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. That same year, something came along that has probably done more to kill children's interest in reading more than anything else. The first iPhone model. Considering that the first iPhone seems like a vintage phone now, it's impressive how fast time goes by.
Facts.
But that is it for today. Thank you so much for watching.
Hope you guys like that, Dean Family, D Nation. Like, comment, subscribe, and share the video on all social medias, and comment below what reaction you want me to do next, and check out the original video in the description box below. Roll to 100K, a million, and a billion, so click that subscribe button. Let's work as a family, as a nation, and see you guys next time. Love you guys. I'm out.